Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome to episode number 975 of NoDQ video, whatever you want to call it. Thank you guys so much for all of your support over the past 6 years, and I also wanted to note on today's video that episode 1000 will take place on August 16th of this year. Not next year, not 2 years from now, just a couple months away. August 16th, 2017, right before SummerSlam. I will be talking about SummerSlam and many other topics. August 16th will also be the anniversary of NoDQ video, which first started August 16th, 2011. So it will be exactly 6 years and 1,000 episodes for NoDQ video. If you enjoyed today's extended edition of NoDQ video, episode number 975, please share it. Tell a friend. Anybody you know who watches wrestling, have them check out this video. Hopefully they will find something insightful about this video. They'll enjoy my opinions or whatever. Hopefully you guys enjoyed today's video. Let's get started with your questions today. First one comes from Matthew. Can you see Randy Orton winning at Battleground and then Baron Corbin cashing in his Money in the Bank? And this is a first-time asker. So we are kicking things off with a first-time asker. No, I do not think Baron Corbin will cash in on either Randy Orton or Jinder Mahal. My guess is Jinder Mahal will retain the WWE title in the Punjabi prison match. And I think I mispronounced it again, but whatever. Hopefully I'll get it right one of these days. I think that Jinder Mahal will retain the title, and then at SummerSlam, John Cena will defeat Jinder Mahal, and at that point, we will see a Baron Corbin cash in. But I would be surprised if Corbin cashes it in on either Orton or Mahal. That I'm not expecting at this point. And I got this one here from James Bong on this topic here. Do you see Corbin cashing in at SummerSlam if John Cena wins? Also, the whole panel should do a new show where you guys book the pay-per-views. I like that idea for the panel. I do think Corbin's going to cash in on Cena. My feeling is it will happen at SummerSlam. I have this feeling that WWE is going to have John Cena beat Jinder Mahal for that feel-good story, John Cena not only coming to the aid of America and rising up above hate and becoming WWE champion, but of course being a 17-time champion, breaking Ric Flair's record. And I could see Cena only winning the title just to break Ric Flair's record, and then WWE will have Corbin come in, cash in Money in the Bank, and Cena loses the title right away, maybe heads over to Raw to feud with somebody. I could definitely see something like that playing out at SummerSlam. And if not at SummerSlam, then a pay-per-view in the near future after SummerSlam, whatever the September pay-per-view. I'm so confused right now, by the way, because No Mercy last year was a SmackDown show. This year, it's a Raw show, and TLC is also a Raw show. I'm assuming SmackDown is getting Hell in a Cell. The whole thing's really confusing right now with the pay-per-views. So whatever the September WWE pay-per-view is, maybe it's Night of Champions, Clash of Champions, who knows at this point what's going on. I've lost track of what the deal is. And remember, Backlash last year was in September. This year it was in May. WWE getting really confusing with the pay-per-views, switching it up, changing brands and all that. But I think Corbin is going to cash it in on Cena. That's my prediction, at least. And I got another question here on this topic from Seth Kay. Will the Money in the Bank briefcase be worth it for Baron Corbin, or will he end up just like Damien Sandow after cashing in? I would be surprised if Baron Corbin cashed in Money in the Bank and lost. I'm not expecting that to happen. I think Baron Corbin is a future WWE champion. I think the company is going to give him a monster heel run in WWE and have him win the title fairly soon, before the end of the year. I think it's going to happen sooner than later. Like I said in that previous question, my feeling is it's going to happen at SummerSlam. Cena's going to win the title, just to beat Flair's record, and then Baron Corbin comes out and immediately cashes it in on Cena. Maybe Cena and Corbin feud for a few months for the rest of the year, and then in early 2018, I could see John Cena heading over to Raw, maybe setting up something with Roman Reigns, maybe setting something up with another Raw superstar, maybe John Cena versus Samoa Joe for WrestleMania. But I have a feeling with this whole storyline with John Cena being a free agent, he'll be on Raw more times than not, and because of that, I don't see John Cena being a long-term champion. So I think somebody like Baron Corbin will, in fact, successfully cash it in on John Cena. This one comes from Javier Reyes. What happens to Jinder Mahal once he loses the title? I don't see him fitting in anywhere, to be honest. That's a great question. What does happen to Jinder Mahal after WWE has moved on to the next thing once this Jinder push is done? I think it depends on how well WWE does in India. I think if WWE continues to see some significant growth in India, then I think Jinder Mahal will continue to be pushed after his WWE title run. Now, if things are not going as well as WWE hopes for, then I could see Jinder Mahal. I doubt he'll go back to how he was before, but I could see him in a Rusev-like position, maybe becoming U.S. champion. WWE will continue the anti-American storyline with him. Maybe he'll get in a tag team with Rusev. Maybe they'll win the tag team titles, or at least go for a run at the tag team titles. I could see that as a possibility, but I don't see Mahal going back down to opening match and just being a jobber to the stars. I think he'll be pushed to some degree, but the question is, how strongly will he be pushed after he loses the title? Again, I think that depends on the whole situation in India, and if WWE feels that Mahal is a solid investment and he's really important in drawing in that country. This one comes from Larby. Do you think Finn Balor is wasted on Raw? Should he have a rivalry with Bray Wyatt first? SmackDown is better for him. I've seen people comment about Finn Balor and how he would be better on SmackDown. I'm not so sure about that. I mean, as it is, guys are getting lost in the shuffle on SmackDown. American Alpha is struggling to get TV time. Ty Dillinger is struggling. Now, Finn Balor, I would say, is a bigger star than American Alpha and Ty Dillinger for sure, but some would say even AJ Styles is getting lost in the shuffle right now, and maybe even Kevin Owens, despite the fact that Owens is United States champion. It feels like Owens and AJ went from being the top stars on their respective brands, and now they're feuding over a mid-card title, and they're not the focal point of SmackDown. I'm not sure if moving Balor to a 2-hour show is really the best thing at this point. I think people just need to be patient with Balor. He should be going for the Universal title. I've said this for the longest time, that the whole thing of him not getting his return match one-on-one when he never lost the title is really stupid and doesn't make any sense. So I do think he should be in the title run. WWE should do Balor versus Lesnar at some point, but I think you should build up to it and wait for the right time to do it. And WWE decided to do Joe versus Lesnar right now, and maybe that's for the best. If this is just a one-off match and Joe's putting over Lesnar, I mean, you guys might complain about that if Balor went against Lesnar and lost right away. At least if WWE waits, maybe they could do a series of matches. Maybe they could do 2 or 3 pay-per-view matches with those guys. Siri not available. Siri, you are ruining my video here. How did that even happen? Botchamania running wild, brother. Siri trying to sabotage NoDQ video number 975, and I am leaving that in. I am not editing that out. Alright, let's try to get back on track here from Deplorable Hamp. If CM Punk comes back in the future, do you think they'll book his return where they left off in his feud with Triple H? I think that would be a logical storyline. That would make sense if CM Punk comes back to WWE, which I think he will someday. I will go on record and say I think we will see CM Punk in a WWE ring again someday. Might only be the Hall of Fame, but I think one day he will be back in a WWE ring in some capacity. Bret Hart came back. Bruno came back. Ultimate Warrior came back. I mean, come on now. I think CM Punk will be back. If I had to put money down Vegas style, I would say CM Punk is coming back one day. Now, if he does come back and he wrestles again, I think it would be logical to do something with Triple H and play off of real life. Like I've said before, sometimes the best storylines are ones that parallel real life, and I think CM Punk and Triple H, there perhaps is some real heat there, and they can use that to make a very compelling storyline and do something really interesting. So I would definitely do that. I would definitely have CM Punk and Triple H butt heads if CM Punk came back to WWE. I would definitely do that. This one comes from Patrick. I apologize for that. WWE was scared after the first female Money in the Bank match reaction, so Carmella won again. What do you think? I would have been fine with it if Carmella had won clean. The thing that I did not like about the Money in the Bank rematch was that you had James Ellsworth, who was banned from the arena, just coming out like it was nothing. No security stopping him, no Daniel Bryan coming out. I guess in the storyline, Bryan was okay with it because Ellsworth got crotched on the ropes. To me, it was really lame. Ellsworth should not have been there. I think that if Carmella was going to win the rematch, then she should have just won clean. It should have been a clean win to give her and the Money in the Bank briefcase some credibility. I think that would have been the right finish. Wasn't a fan of Ellsworth interfering again. I would have felt better about Ellsworth interfering if maybe, number one, he came out wearing a mask and was trying to pull off some shenanigans, and number two, if Carmella did not win the match, if it backfired the second time around. The fact that they did the same exact finish with the exception of Ellsworth not grabbing the briefcase, I mean, that's the only thing they did right this time. But yeah, I still wasn't a fan of the way the match was booked. So I feel like the Money in the Bank briefcase for the women's division, not really feeling it has much credibility right now. Just not feeling it. This one comes from Jersey Tragedy 14. With them having a Punjabi prison match, I'm still not sure how to pronounce that. I know somebody, might have been Jishnu, corrected me on it, and I still get it wrong. What's another rare match that you would like to see again for what wrestlers? There's not too many of them. I mean, I would like to see War Games, but I think it's unlikely until Triple H has full control of WWE. I think one day, once Vince is out of the picture, I think we will see War Games again. The other match I like from WCW, see, the thing is, the matches I would like to see took place in WCW, and WWE doesn't like to do matches that are not their own creation. I would like to see the triple-decker cage match that they used at Slamboree 2000. It was in Ready to Rumble. You know, if you take out all the goofy booking and the Vince Russo stuff and just had a really solid triple-tiered steel cage match, I think it could be excellent. I thought the Jarrett and DDP match was actually really good when you ignore all the Russo stuff with David Arquette doing the predictable swerve. And, you know, when it's predictable, is it really a swerve? I think another match I would like would be the Lions Den match that they were doing in 98, 99. I remember the Owen Hart, Ken Shamrock match. Maybe do that with Brock Lesnar and Samoa Joe, put them in a cage. That might be interesting, do something a little bit different. Although, again, it's a UFC concept, and now that UFC is more popular than they were back then, I'm not sure if WWE is going to do that. So, as much as I would like to see these matches, I think it's unlikely WWE brings them back at least anytime soon. This one comes from Haley Shaw. They have time for Ascension, Aiden English, Breezango, and the Hype Brothers. So where the hell is Ty Dillinger? I like how you called them the Hype Brothers, just like me. Yeah, I'm lame. They're the hype bros, but I call them the hype brothers, whatever. Zack Ryder, you are a hype brother, and you can deal with it. That's what he gets for blocking me on Twitter, because I called him out on a botch. After all those years, I was trying to help Zack Ryder with his grassroots effort to get noticed in WWE. I went to Coachella and wrote WWWYKI, woo woo woo, you know it, on the wall. I did everything I could to promote Zack Ryder, and then he blocks me on Twitter. That son of a bitch. Anyways, to answer your question, I think it's because it's a 2-hour show, and as it is, WWE is struggling to give everyone TV time, and Road Dogg, who is part of the creative team in WWE, and he's actually the head of SmackDown's creative, he even mentioned on Twitter that he's working on it. He's working on getting Ty Dillinger on TV and working on getting American Alpha on TV. It's just a problem where you have a 2-hour show and you're trying to find time for all these guys. They did manage to squeeze Mike and Maria, and that was creative. You know, have them come out, be interrupted by Sami Zayn. At least they got on TV this week. But yeah, a lot of guys are struggling, and no, making it 3 hours is not the answer. You got to find another way to get these guys on TV and maybe change out guys and give them some more critical storylines and find better ways to utilize these guys and give them TV time. It's tricky. It's tricky when you have a 2-hour show and you have to get everybody on and make it meaningful and not just throw them out there with no purpose. You don't want to do that either. If you're going to have somebody on television, you want to try to do something that's effective, that helps their characters get over more. If you just throw them out there with no rhyme or reason, then it's not really going to help them. Now, any TV time is good TV time, you know, out of sight, out of mind, that whole thing. But at the same time, you got to figure out something useful to do with these guys. So, you know, it's definitely a challenge. This one comes from Goat. WWE is having a difficult time getting faces over these days. Aside from better booking, how do they fix this issue? Easiest solution is let it be organic. Let the fans determine who the good guys are and who the bad guys are. You know, that used to be the way things were done. The fans would determine who the baby faces are and who the heels are. Now, WWE's like, no, we determine that. Vince, he's had this attitude for a long time that he believes he knows what's better for the fans than the fans do. And he shoves people down the throats of the fans. You look at Lex Luger, you look at Diesel, and now we got Roman Reigns, and we had John Cena. We have these guys that are not getting over as baby faces organically. Now, they do have a following, and they're making money for the company, and people are buying tickets to see them, but at the same time, it's the WWE brand that really sells. John Cena, no doubt, does move some numbers. John Cena is a great personality, a great talent, and same thing with Roman Reigns. It's just the characters are not what people want to see. The people want characters that they can relate to, and in the case of Roman Reigns, you know, he's like a jock, you know, I don't really think a lot of fans can identify with Roman Reigns. You know, he comes out there and he's the pretty boy, jock, football player type guy. And, you know, it's not like somebody who's an underdog, like a Daniel Bryan, who had to claw and scratch his way to the top and fight the politics. You know, he was somebody you could identify with. Somebody like Steve Austin. Steve Austin was anti-authority. People got to live vicariously through Austin. You know, everybody hates their boss, or most people hate their boss. It was something people could identify with. So it's a matter of having characters that the audience can relate to and creating organic baby faces and letting the fans determine who the baby faces are. This one comes from Alex Boney. Where would you rank Brock Lesnar in your list of greatest wrestlers of all time? Personally, for me, he is at number 6. Oh man, I've never really thought of that. I think Brock Lesnar has to be in the top 25 for sure at this point. Every year that goes by, I think his stock goes up. You know, prior to his comeback, I do not think I would have put him in the top 25, but now he certainly is there. And with each year that he has a WrestleMania main event under his belt, and every year that he has a run as world champion, his stock is going to go up. And I think when it's all said and done, Brock is perhaps going to be in the top 10 if he keeps going. If he has a couple more good years, I could see Brock Lesnar being in my top 10 of the all-time greatest WWE talents. I mean, he's certainly one of the few draws that WWE has, and right now he's the highest paid guy in the company, and they feel, you know, he's an investment, that he's an attraction. So Brock is moving numbers. WWE's happy with him, and he's a big deal. When he comes out there, you feel like he's something special, and you don't feel that about a lot of guys in WWE. Brock Lesnar is one of the true bona fide superstars in the company. We feel this guy's truly larger than life, and he's something special. Got this one here from Garrison Mendez. What has been your new era most shocking moment or match so far? I have to go with everything about Jinder. See, the thing is, Jinder Mahal winning the WWE title wasn't even a huge shock to me. I mean, I thought it was possible because I felt WWE might do something ridiculous like that. And a lot of people thought this. When I did the poll on NoDQ before the pay-per-view, a lot of people thought Mahal was going to win the title. I think people thought that there was better than a 50-50 chance of him winning. And I was a little surprised by that. But at the same time, I wasn't, because WWE has done stuff like this before where they've pushed somebody out of nowhere. I mean, not to this degree, but remember JBL, and a lot of people were comparing it to JBL, like this was WWE's new version of JBL, trying to make a new top heel on SmackDown. I'm not sure what the most shocking moment for me was. I guess Goldberg beating Brock Lesnar. If we're talking about since the new brand extension started, which would be the, quote, new era, whatever you want to call it, I'd have to say Goldberg beating Brock Lesnar at Survivor Series. To me, that was the most shocking moment in WWE from the past year to year and a half. Got this one here from LY. Hey Aaron, do you think Vince played a vital role in Steve Austin becoming the legendary character that we all admire today? Definitely, Vince was absolutely a factor in Steve Austin becoming the biggest star in wrestling history. Austin, of course, deserves the credit for doing all the work, but Vince was doing a lot of work behind the scenes, so I wouldn't say Austin was doing all the work, but Austin was playing the character. You had Bret Hart, who worked with Austin, put Austin over, made Austin look like $1 million. You had Mike Tyson, who drew in new people into the WWE product and getting them to watch the show. And Vince Russo. Vince Russo for helping make Steve Austin an edgy character, whether people want to admit that or not. You have to give Russo some credit for helping develop the Steve Austin character and giving him an edge and helping develop the Attitude Era. So all those guys, I mean, it's really a team effort. Who made Steve Austin the biggest star in history? I mean, it's a combination of all those names I mentioned, plus many others as well. I mean, Brian Pillman, Shawn Michaels, Triple H, Mick Foley, the list goes on, The Rock. All these guys helped make Stone Cold the biggest star in wrestling history. Got this one here from Jesse Lopez. Hey Aaron, I love your talks and they're very cool. What was your opinion on Stan Hansen, and was he the toughest and most stiff wrestler? I did not follow too much of Stan Hansen's career because a lot of it was in Japan, but from what I saw in America, primarily WCW/NWA, I thought he was a good performer. And yes, he was known for being very stiff, but at the same time, it added a sense of realism, and you really felt like this guy was a real badass, somebody you would not want to mess with, and those are the most effective characters in wrestling. A guy who you can watch and really believe that this guy is a tough SOB. And in Stan Hansen's case, the guy was just a complete lunatic. So when you saw him on TV, I mean, you definitely would not want to run into this guy in a dark alley. I mean, he was definitely an interesting character in the late 80s and 90s. This one comes from Turbonius. Will Natalya ever get a women's title reign, or is it too late for her? How would you book the women's division for SummerSlam? That's a loaded question. I think Natalya deserves a chance to be the women's champion. She's been in the company now for about a decade, and she hasn't really gotten a solid run on top. I feel bad that she did not win the Money in the Bank, and as I mentioned when we did the pop video, which you should check out if you haven't already, I think her and Becky gave the best performances in that Money in the Bank ladder match. I'd love to see her get a run. As far as SummerSlam goes and the women's division, I think it's time for a title change. You know, I think Naomi has been doing all right, but I'd like to see Charlotte get a push now. I mean, she's been on SmackDown and it feels like she's cooled off significantly. I'd love to see Charlotte versus Natalya at SummerSlam for the women's title and do something with them and rekindle that past and really play up on the whole Flair versus Hart rivalry again. You know, going back to NXT, they had that match. Maybe get Brett and Ric Flair involved again and just really build that feud up again on the main roster. I'd love to see that for SummerSlam. Got this one here from Jamie Clark. How much heat would WWE get if they fired Paige right after the Rock-produced movie is released? I doubt WWE would get much heat for it unless they bring Paige back to television and act like they're going to give her a second chance, and then once the Rock's movie is out, they cut her loose. That would be weird, but I think one of two things are going to happen. Either WWE is going to work things out with her and she'll be back on television, or they're just not going to bring her back at all and just let her contract expire. I think it would be unlikely if WWE brought her back when The Rock's movie came out and then let her go right away. That I could see some people being upset about. This one comes from BedW Murray. I was rewatching the 2001 Royal Rumble and I felt that Kane should have won. I know the main event of WrestleMania 17 would be changed, but what are your thoughts? I think WWE made the right decision. Kane winning the Rumble, yes, it would have been a feel-good moment. It would have been nice for Kane, but Austin and The Rock was the money match. That was the match that was going to draw the biggest number for WrestleMania, and this was back in a period when they had to sell people on $40 to $50 pay-per-views, and they're looking to pack 70,000 people in the Houston Astrodome, and you gotta go with your biggest match possible. You have to do the biggest match, and that was Austin versus The Rock. Kane was not going to move the numbers like that. It just wasn't going to happen. So I 100% think WWE made the right move by doing Austin and Rock at WrestleMania. That was the money match. Got this one here from Ian. Hey Aaron, can you see WWE going the Marvel route by rebooting characters like Goldust, Kane, or Undertaker with new talent? Highly unlikely in all likelihood. And WWE did, in fact, try this once before, with Kane being Diesel and then bringing out the fake Razor Ramon, the fake Razor and the fake Diesel in 1996, and it flopped terribly. WWE trying to bring in somebody else as The Undertaker. They even tried that with the Imposter Undertaker storyline. It's not going to happen. We're not going to see WWE recreate old characters with new talent. Not going to happen. And it just would not work. People would not buy into it. And it would be a very bad idea. Do not see it happening. Alright, that'll wrap it up for episode number 975. This was a long one. I hope you guys enjoyed. Hopefully there are some new first-time viewers watching this. And if you are a first-time viewer, I appreciate you checking out the video. Hopefully you will be watching more of them. You can subscribe, youtube.com/AaronRiftNoDQ. And if you guys really enjoyed the video, you can pick up a NoDQ.com t-shirt over at ProWrestlingTees.com. Search NoDQ or check out the link in the description box. Thank you guys again for your support and checking out the video. Please keep spreading the word, and I will see you guys next time for episode number 976. And August 16th, episode 1000 of NoDQ video is coming. See you guys next time.